Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence is not an act, but a habit. This famous philosopher understood the power of repetition, and I can't help but agree, considering how powerful repetition still is to this day. Today, I'm going to share 7 practical tips to live below your means. If you sow the seeds of these habits well and keep repeating them, then you will reap the endless benefits they offer. Number 1, pick a no spend day. You can really pick any day of the week for this. I typically like to do my no spend day on a Sunday because it's a day when I want to rest before work. If you think about it, you're really only spending 6 days a week instead of 7. Let's look at the numbers. If you spend about $500 a week or around $71 a day on variable expenses, then avoiding a whole day of spending can save you $71 a week or $284 a month. That's pretty good. Just think what you can do with the extra $284 a month, like going on that trip to Europe you've always dreamed about, without going above your means. Number 2, only grocery shop once a week. I once knew someone who used to go to the grocery store every day. I couldn't help but ask, why would you go so often to the grocery store? You have to pay for gas, take the time to travel, and likely spend more than you need to be buying food you probably don't need. The person responded that they felt things were just too hectic in their lives and they didn't have the energy to plan ahead. This was really eye opening because instead of thinking what they were doing made no sense and forgetting about it, I decided to ask what can be done to help get someone organized so they only have to shop once a week. Things are pretty convenient right now, so a great start to organizing your shopping list is to always have a piece of paper or a whiteboard on your fridge where you can keep track of items you need as soon as you notice that you need them. Another option is to use online shopping and use the cart as your item list. If you're so busy and opt for grocery delivery, you're likely to pay less than if you go in store because you'll only buy what you need. Bonus. A bonus tip is that you can batch your errands together. I like to do this because it helps me avoid having to do something every day, freeing up my time, and I also save money on gas. Number 3, make a financial goal that motivates you. It's one thing to have a financial goal, but it's another thing to pick something that you actually want to accomplish. For example, a personal goal I have is to put a lump sum payment on my house for $10,000 by the end of the year. This goal gets me excited and it's something I actually want to work towards, meaning I'll put more effort into making it happen than a goal I'm not crazy about accomplishing. It's likely that you have some sort of goal you want to accomplish, like going on a trip, paying for a car, paying off your own home, or even just purchasing something that's expensive. Whatever gets your blood pumping and excites you is something worth making a financial goal for. Remember, you practice frugal tips to save money on what you don't need so you can buy what you want and need and live below your means. Number 4, track your spending. If you don't track your spending, then you can't effectively make the most of your money. While it may seem daunting to track your spending since we spend so much, it's really not all that bad if you find a system that works for you. For example, I like to track my spending at the end of every day because I tend to forget things easily. However, depending on your situation, you can do it every day, every 2 days, or every week. You may have to experiment and try out different time frames and methods, like using your phone versus a notebook, and see what works best for you. But I can guarantee that it'll help you live below your means. Number 5, get extra income. As the saying goes, there's more than one way to save money. In this case, I've talked extensively about ways to reduce your spending, but an alternative way to live below your means is to increase your income. Something that's changed my life is getting a freelance job. It does require a lot of work, but it's allowed me to place all the money I earn from it into savings. Of course, freelancing may not be the best option, but there are several other avenues to explore. For instance, if you have creative talent, you can always make designs and sell them online. Or you can start your own business about something you're passionate about, like starting a hot sauce brand. Or you can talk to your boss because maybe a raise is awaiting you if you just ask. Number 6, organize your finances. Organizing my finances was the key to living below my means and saving money. Think about this. How often do you find you have a manager or supervisor and think that they don't really manage things all that well because everything feels chaotic and out of place? Well, it's the same when it comes to money. If you don't know how much money you earn, how much you spend, or where every dollar is going, then you're not effectively managing your money and thus can't make things work the way they should. The easiest way to organize finances is to use a budget. When I make my budget, it's unique to every month since things are always changing. For instance, some months I'll put a bigger amount into paying off debt, and some months I'll purchase something for myself that I've always wanted to buy. For you, you need to suit it to your life. Let me know in the comments how a budget has changed your life. Number 7, get the appropriate home. A constant issue that cropped up when I started trying to live below my means was my home. The desire to live in a bigger home than what I needed caused me to spend more money than I was really able to. After some time, I realized that I needed to downsize because it was getting too difficult to afford it with the current income I was making. Being realistic with yourself, knowing what you can afford, and making sure the home you want or have actually suits your lifestyle can drastically impact whether you live below your means or not. Go over the price of your home and calculate how much of your income goes to your home. A rule of thumb is that your home shouldn't cost more than 32% of your income. Number 8, don't compare yourself to others. One of the most challenging things with the onset of social media is seeing people flaunt their riches. I know I'm not the only one who feels like they have nothing when they compare themselves to these people who seemingly have everything they could ever want. Little by little, you may find yourself desiring a new car, getting fancier clothes, or even ordering Starbucks just to look fancier. However, this rabbit hole leads you far away from living below your means. And believe me, I know because I've fallen into it a few times. The only way around this is to either unfollow those accounts or reduce or avoid your social media. This way, you can focus entirely on yourself and your situation. You are in charge of the life you live, and you can get the riches you want, but you need to do it in the context of your unique living situation. Number 9, never, ever spend more than you make. I know this tip seems obvious and repetitive, especially to some viewers who are already adept with their finances, but it can never be stated enough. Remember, you reap what you sow, and there's nothing wrong with sowing the thought of never spending more than you make to ensure you always live below your means. This tip is really simple. You always want to make sure your expenses are less than what you make so that you always have a surplus of money at the end of the month. And where does that money go? Into savings. Before I share this final tip, make sure you follow all the tips in this video so that you can live below your means starting today. If you want to learn more, then subscribe to Investors Weekly, where we have tons of videos to help you grow to financial independence. Number 10, build an emergency fund. The moment that got me to build my emergency fund was when I had a health scare and realized that I would be in a massive amount of debt. I reflected more on things that could go wrong and make the life I currently live impossible to keep due to payments. I initially thought that it would be impossible to build an emergency fund, but because of the steps prior to this one, I was able to build one. Now that I have an emergency fund, I find it much easier to sleep at night and live because I know that no matter what happens, I'll at least be okay for some time. It's recommended to have 3 to 6 months worth of income in your emergency fund so you can basically live without having a stable income. I personally like to have 6 months worth because I feel more comfortable with a larger safety net. But it really depends on what you want. If you think an emergency fund is a great idea, let us know by liking the video.